unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live boxing ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live. The drama continues. Gervonta Davis. Bill Haney does a brand new interview. He says the Tank fight won't be happening at a catchweight, no rehydration clause. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. The saga continues. Ain't nothing changed but the day of the week. The best in the business is back. Now, subscribe to the channel. It's free. I got a lot of videos. There's going to be a lot to talk about right now. Devin Haney, he just beat Regis Prograis, and him and Gervonta Davis have been off the hook, going back at it with each other, back and forth, hurling insults and warnings and promises, all these types of things. 2024, let's hope we get this fight and we get, you know, what the world wants to see, which is big fights. This would definitely be a fight where there's a lot of back and forth and everybody wants to see it. However, Devin Haney's father / trainer, Bill Haney, he's insisting that they are not going to consider any catchweight or rehydration clause for a future fight with Gervonta Davis. They said it must be at the new weight class of Devin Haney, 140 pounds. He says, quote, "Let the rules be the rules and let the best man win. You cannot get on the Mount Rushmore of boxing with those rules. He's the rehydration champion," end quote. So this was a brand new interview with Bill Haney on The Boxing Voice where these statements were made. To recap, he's saying if the fight happens, it's on our terms, our weight, 140 pounds, no rehydration clause, and no catch weights, right? But to me, this goes back to what I've been saying from the beginning. This is why I don't see the fight happening, because at the end of the day, we know that Gervonta Davis is the A side. He is not going to go for somebody else dictating anybody. It's not just Devin Haney. He didn't do it with Ryan Garcia. Like, here, let's just be real. Because Devin just fought Regis Prograis. That just happened. So at the time, Gervonta Davis was undefeated. At the time, Ryan Garcia was undefeated. Ryan Garcia did a great job on his end of selling the fight, talking up the fight, making people want to see the fight. He's a guy who's known for an overall explosive style with speed and power. He was on Mike Tyson's podcast. "Hi, it's me, Mike Tyson. Why is my fight with Peter McNeely? I'm gonna eat him. I'm gonna exterminate him. I'm gonna chomp on his legs." Right? He was on the Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson show, Hot Boxing with, or whatever it's called, podcast with Mike Tyson, and he's hopping up. He FaceTime Tank. They did an amazing job of hyping up the fight. Ryan, being a knockout artist style of fighter, he just got a knockout in his comeback fight after losing to Tank, and he has that type of style. Also, he was undefeated, and he carries a big fan base. We all know that. You can look at his social media. So if Ryan Garcia was the B side, just simple mathematics, if Ryan Garcia has all this fanfare, he's also non-black. So, you know, I'm not saying two black fighters can't sell, but I know in boxing throughout history, when you diversify and you have a black fighter versus a Mexican American or Mexican fighter, those fights definitely tend to sell. I mean, Floyd Mayweather has several Floyd Canelo, Floyd De La Hoya, Floyd Maidana, guys from Argentina, Mexico, Mexican American, and these did amazing numbers. Or even Floyd versus Ricky Hatton, where he's fighting a UK guy, because they have a sometimes different demographic or different fan base. The other thing with Tank and Ryan is Ryan was with Golden Boy. Floyd Mayweather was one of the people that introduced you to Gervonta early on. So it's just, you have segmented audiences. So Ryan brought his own fans. He was also in the Canelo gym and things like that. So Ryan picked up fans just being with Eddie Reynoso and being in the Canelo gym, etc. So I said all that to say this. Even with Ryan Garcia, as big as he was still the B-side. His promoter was not the lead promoter. His network, DAZN, they were not the lead network, right? It was a Showtime broadcast, and it said Davis Garcia, not Garcia Davis. So I understand Devin Haney's doing very good for himself. He had a great performance versus Regis Prograis. However, just a fight before that, some people were saying Lomachenko won and things like that, and saying he lost the fight. So it's not enough to have him surpass. I know some people are going to attempt to disagree with it, but then that means you know nothing about boxing and you know nothing about what makes an A-side. Because the A-side, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Statistically, like, look at it like this. I don't know what the true numbers were for Devin Haney's fight. I went to the fight. I had a great time. But they're saying 150, 200,000, right? Tank just did 1 million plus more than that with his last fight with Ryan Garcia, because they said the fight did 1.2, 1.3 million plus. So Tank Ryan outsold. And I know the haters, they're going to say, oh, that had nothing to do with Tank. But Tank keeps selling and keeps setting records, like the Barclay record that he set with Rolly for attendance in boxing. So I know people don't want to give credit, but we're not doing that here. Which leads me to the whole ordeal with the weight. Bill Haney is saying that no catch weights, no stipulation, no rehydration clause. Mind you, on the Boxing Voice, there was a caller who went in and confronted Bill Haney about this and said, yo, I looked through history and Margarito, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler, Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Triple G, they all either had catchweight fights, offered catchweight fights, and significant fights have happened in the world of boxing, all at catchweights. So why are you unwilling to bend in that department versus Tank Davis when he's the A-side? You got to make the compromise and make some concessions. So why are you unwilling to do that? Because Bill Haney stated on that show that they are not doing any rehydration clause, no stipulation. Devin Haney rehydrated 25 pounds, right? He went from 140 on the weigh-in to 165 per the commission, the California State Commission's paperwork. So you guys can say whatever you want, but you know it sounds dumb. There's nobody who is an A-side. They've worked their brand, and for years they've paved a way for them to be able to call the shots, only to forego and give all of that up and then just give it away at the negotiating table. That's never been how boxing's worked, and it's going to continue to not be how boxing works. No one does that. No one no one asked Canelo Alvarez to not throw his weight around in the negotiating table. It's almost understood, unless he was fighting Floyd Mayweather, who would be the A-side over him, it's understood that Canelo versus anybody else not named Mayweather, they're going to have to play the B-side. Even when Dimitri Bivol was a champion at 175 and Canelo wasn't at that time a champion at 175, Dimitri Bivol was the B-side. It was called Canelo Bivol. So he had top billing at the press conference. I mean, it's the same thing happened for Devin Haney. Devin Haney, the whole promotion was called Haney Prograis. Yet Devin hadn't shown us that what he was made of in this weight class, and Regis Prograis was the actual champion. So we know in boxing, this A-side stuff is not something you're going to get around. So for the Haneys to say, you know, we're not willing to fight at a catchweight or even consider it, or rehydration clause, like I said before, I really look at it as, if that is the case, I don't see this fight happening. I don't see this fight happening at all, because I don't think they have the power to and the jurisdiction to call that shot. And that's how boxing has always been. And that's kind of what the caller was saying on the episode with Bill Haney. He was like, man, Gotti and Ward, people keep saying legacy and Mount Rushmore and things like that. But Gotti and Ward, all three of them fights was at a catchweight. What are y'all talking about legacy? Manny Pacquiao, he fought top fights and is regarded for those fights. I believe, How is he regarded as a legacy fighter, an 8-division champion, and he fought fights at catchweights? And he had fights where De La Hoya, to make the Pacquiao fight, Pacquiao had to move up weight, and then De La Hoya, moved down to a division he could no longer really comfortably make. So that is the question. All I know is I don't care. Like, I like Devin Haney. I like Gervonta Davis. They're going to have to hash that out. But all I know is your boy Ego has been on the money with this whole subject. Weight matters. Negotiations matter. You're not getting around that. At the end of the day, if this is the stance from the Haneys, then I do not see the Tank fight happening next or anytime soon. Because, again, that's just not how boxing works. No one's going to put themselves at a disadvantage because let's say Devin outgrew lightweight and it's hard for him to make lightweight. What does that have to do with Tank Davis? So because Devin is at a point where his body has told him to move up in weight, that means that Gervonta Davis has to follow suit as the A side? No. And y'all know good and well that if David Benavidez could no longer make super middleweight 168, so he said, I'm moving to 175. You think Canelo's going to fight David Benavidez at 175? He's not even fighting him at 168, let alone 175. But if Benavidez did move up to 175, you think Canelo's going to follow him and let Benavidez call the shots when he's the A side? I think we know the answer to that. So it's a similar situation. I'll keep you guys updated. Don't see this fight happening.